Next on Sisterhood of the Second Act.
Today we are talking about simplifying your life. You'll learn tips on how to quickly create healthy, delicious meals and ways to organize your home so that you have more space and peace of mind. And house cleaning may be a chore, but we'll give you some tips on how to speed up the process. Stay tuned. Sisterhood of the Second Act is next.
Sisterhood of the Second Act is brought to you by... There's more inside the hemp mill than CBD products. There's a community. Stop in for Friday's Coffee Talk to enjoy free hemp coffee and treats. Patent pending products made from hemp for anxiety, pain relief, and organic healthy eating. Cannabinoid products you can trust because the hemp is locally grown, processed, and formulated by us with patent pending formulations. That includes our Pet Calm and dog biscuits. The Hemp Mill, women owned and operated with nutritional offerings, local cards, gifts, jewelry, and trending fashions made by women-owned businesses. TheHempMill.net.
I'm going to be an oak tree.
I think I'll be a dogwood tree.
My kids said they'd be looking for a thorny tree from me.
With Evergreen, you can be a tree. Our biodegradable urn combines your ashes, natural soil additives, and a native tree of your choice. Be a tree and grow for tomorrow.
I want to be a tree.
Learn more at evergreenmemorialtrust.com.
See where a grateful nation remembers its heroes, and where Thomas Jefferson came to relax. Where small town charm is just down the road from big outdoor adventures. Find peace and quiet, as well as the sounds of family fun. Destination Bedford is located where the Piedmont Plateau meets the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. Where ordinary ends, Bedford begins.
From the Fox Radio Roanoke Studios, here's Kathy Heberle.
Welcome to Sisterhood of the Second Act. I'm Kathy Heberle, and my first guest today is Laurel Soderberg. She's an independent consultant with Pampered Chef for almost 23 years, and she loves working with people and teaching them how to make yummy things in the kitchen. So we're going to learn a few tips today from her. And Laurel, tell us just a little bit how you got into this.
I started this business because I needed a roof on my house and I needed the extra income to help pay for that. But I'm also, the other thing is I'm a former teacher and I love teaching, I love communicating with people, I love telling people how to do new things, so that was part of it as well.
So today we wanted some tips on how we can get fast, healthy, nutritious meals on the table in short order. Can you give us some tips?
Well, my two biggest tips that I give my customers and my friends is there are two main things that you need to do to get fast, easy, nutritious meals on the table. One is planning, and the second is preparation. And if you can manage to get those two under control, you're 90% of the way there.
Well, why is planning so important?
Planning is important because if you're sitting at your office at 4:30 in the afternoon thinking, what in the world am I going to fix for dinner? It's a stressor. And if working those 8 hours doesn't make you crazy, going to the grocery store at 5 o'clock will, because there's 1,000 other people in there doing the same thing. Everybody's tired. Everybody wants to go home. They just want to get out of there. The lines are long. You're tempted to just grab anything that you can feed your family with. And instead of doing that, if you plan ahead of time and make some plans, it serves you a lot better. You've heard the term, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yes.
That's true
absolutely.
that's true for food preparation as well.
Or worse than that, instead of these healthy meals, they'll stop for fast food.
Well,
I've seen lines out to the parking lot for that. So tell us, what is a good system for planning?
Well, this is the system that I tell people to do. And this might not work for everyone, but it's been very successful for me and for everybody that I've ever taught it to. You need to plan your menu for 2 weeks at a time.
Okay.
And you can do this on your tablet, you can do it on your phone.
Notebook?
I'm a paper and pencil girl here, so I write all this down.
Okay.
But I will take
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, 14 days at a time. And people are like, ooh, they're scared to death of that. But you know what? It works. It works. So I write down the days of the week, I write down the date, and then I go check my calendar. and see, because a lot of women that are just hitting that 50 age mark still have older teenagers in the house. So you need to look and see, do we have a soccer game that night? Do we have scouts that night? Do we have ballet practice that night? Because then you're going to have to modify a little bit. But check your calendar and then start writing down what you're going to fix every single night. Write down the cookbook that you got it from, if you got it from a cookbook. Write the page number you found it on in that cookbook. If you got it online, run off a copy, put it in a book so you can find it when you get home or find it the night before. And then write down your ingredients that you need for that meal on your grocery list. Go shop your pantry, shop your freezer, make sure you don't have that already because you don't need 16 cans of green beans.
Right.
You know, you really don't. You just need a few. You don't need all those. And then go shopping. And that is my plan. And that doesn't mean that every single night I cook exactly what's written on there. I might switch things around because I might feel like I don't feel like that tonight. Let's switch this around and switch the days. But
you've already got the ingredients.
You've got the
on
ingredients,
hand.
and you're not sitting at work thinking, "What am I going to cook?" It's already written down. You already know what you're going to have. You've already got the ingredients there. You don't have to go by the grocery store on your way home from work.
Well, that sounds wonderful. And you mentioned like the night before and things. Is that part of food prepping? And what is food prepping and what do you recommend?
Well, my thing about food prepping is trying to do as much ahead of time that you can do. You can't do everything ahead of time, but there are a lot of things you can do ahead of time, and you know that I'm this way, but I'm not sure your listeners know that I'm this way. I don't buy grated cheese already. I grate my own cheese because there are things in grated cheese that are really not healthy for you. So you can grate up cheese and stick it in a gallon bag. You can do all that on Sunday afternoon for all the dishes you're going to need for at least the next week, if not the next 2 weeks. You can go ahead and chop up some of your vegetables, get some of your salad things ready to go ahead of time so that you can come home and just throw them all in a bowl, mix them up, and put them on the table. So the preparation part is really, really important as well. I have an acquaintance who, before she retired, she would, on Sunday afternoon, she would do all of the entrees that they were going to cook. And you don't have to do 7 different entrees. You can do a roast, a chicken, and a turkey breast and eat that whole week off of that. She would cook everything on Sunday, put it in the refrigerator, and they came home and were ready to eat.
That sounds great. So for me, like a lot of times I'll just make like a pot of rice, some things on Sunday. Is that what we're talking about here? Just a few things to have like that'll be a basis for the meal without doing the entire meal.
Absolutely. And you'd be surprised how much time all that saves. You can chop things up ahead of time and put them in a glass container and put them in your refrigerator and they're good to go. They're ready to go.
That's wonderful. So I'm with Laurel Soderberg, and she's giving us some great tips on getting fast, healthy meals on the table. So tell us, what's a fast meal that you like to go back to? What's a staple? Give us a little recipe here.
One of my favorites is to take chicken breast and fillet them, and I have a tool that helps me do that so that I don't cut off anything other than the chicken breast that I want. I'm not cutting anything in half except that fillet. Fillet them, put one of our rubs on it, put it on the grill, put it in the grill pan, put it on the electric griddle, and then at the same time I will cut up, and especially now with the farmers market starting to rev back up again, fresh vegetables, I will cut up squash, zucchini, red onion, red pepper, yellow pepper, green pepper, asparagus, put them all together, cook them on the grill pan, just roast them. Now my son who does this makes this delicious marinade to go with it. I don't do the marinade. I just cook the vegetables and then put a salad together and maybe bake a potato. There's just
fast and easy, and it sounds delicious,
easy,
and
quick,
healthy.
nutritious.
Yes.
Everybody's happy when it's over with.
Well, are there some, to help us along with all this chopping, are there some small appliances that you recommend for people for quick meal preparation?
I think everybody should have a crock pot, because if you've done the planning and done the prepping ahead of time, you can, in the morning before you go to work, you can throw all this stuff in the crock pot, give it a stir, turn it on low, go to work, you come home, and dinner is ready to go.
I love that idea. So a crock pot, a slow cooker, any other appliances?
I love my quick cooker, which is a pressure cooker. Now notice I said pressure cooker, not pressure canner. cannot can in these appliances. But a pressure cooker cooks things much faster. I use mine 2 or 3 times a week. Could not survive without it now. And the other thing that I would recommend is maybe an air fryer, because air fryers are very popular right now and are able to cook things in a faster way as well.
Okay, that sounds really good. So sometimes as we, are getting older and our family is changing now, we don't have a lot of little kids at home. Maybe there's just you or just you and your husband. Mm-hmm. How do you start learning to cook for just 1 or 2 people after a lifetime of cooking for, maybe a larger family?
That can be dicier than cooking for 10 people a lot of times. But one thing that we have now that we didn't have 15 years ago, or even 10 years ago really, is the internet. And you can, if you go online and type in recipes for 2 people or recipes for 1 person, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of recipes on there. There really are. And I've just checked this out again in the past couple of weeks to make sure that they're still all there. The other thing that you can do is almost any recipe, if you're very careful, you can figure out how to cut that recipe in half.
Right.
My standard meatloaf recipe calls for 2 loaves. There's only 3 of us now, so I just do 1. I can cut everything in half. If you're a little bit creative and a little bit careful, you can do that. I think one thing we've learned during the pandemic is you don't always have to completely, perfectly follow a recipe. Right. You can substitute things, you can cut things in half, you can add things if you want to. So I think that any standard recipe almost can be divided in half, and you can make half of it.
Well, I like that, and I don't mind leftovers for 1 day.
Oh yeah,
but it's just when you've got them for several days.
Yeah, you don't want to be eating it for 5 days at all.
Yes. So, yes. Speaking of recipes, then, what are some ingredients that you recommend people keep on hand?
I think every well-stocked kitchen needs baking items. So I would encourage everybody to have flour and sugar and salt and baking powder, baking soda, honey, chocolate, cocoa powder, because into each life some chocolate should fall. I also would recommend some pastas and potatoes, garlic. Everything's better with garlic in it, in my opinion. Your listeners may not feel that way, but in my opinion, right. Garlic, onions, things like that. Canned goods, canned beans, canned vegetables, canned fruits, because in the wintertime here, it's hard to get fruits that are fresh, that taste good. Right. So canned tomato sauce, tomato paste, things like that. Every well-stocked kitchen should have those things.
That sounds great. And also for some of our recipe ideas, we can contact you, Laurel. Is that
absolutely.
correct? Yes.
Absolutely. I am glad. I very cheerfully answer questions. So.
I really appreciate that, all the little tips and tricks here. But thank you very much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure having you here. And I think keeping in mind that just a little bit of preparation and a little bit of planning will help us get those meals on that are healthy and nutritious, even when we're tired coming home from work.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else that you can tell us keeping that in mind at the end?
The only thing I'm going to say is once you get that system down, it sounds complicated at first. Once you adjust to it, it's just like a piece of cake.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Laurel. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
And when we come back, Organizer Ann Custer is going to help us get our homes organized so that we can live in a nice and tidy environment. Stay tuned.
I'm going to be an oak tree.
I think I'll be a dogwood tree.
My kids say they be looking for a thorny tree from me.
With Evergreen, you can be a tree. Our biodegradable urn combines your ashes, natural soil additives, and a native tree of your choice. Be a tree and grow for tomorrow.
I want to be a tree.
Learn more at evergreenmemorialtrust.com.
There's more inside the hemp mill than CBD products. There's a community. Stop in for Friday's coffee talk to enjoy free hemp coffee and treats. Patent pending products made from hemp for anxiety, pain relief, and organic healthy eating. Cannabinoid products you can trust because the hemp is locally grown, processed, and formulated by us with patent pending formulations. That includes our Pet Calm and dog biscuits. The Hemp Mill, women owned and operated with nutritional offerings, local cards, gifts, jewelry, and trending fashions made by women-owned businesses. TheHempMill.net. Once again, from the Fox Radio Roanoke studio, here's Kathy Heberle.
Welcome back to Sisterhood of the Second Act. I'm Kathy Heberle. Do you have trouble finding things in your home? Is it difficult to move from room to room? Chances are you need an organizer. Ann Custer of WOW Organizing Services helps people transform their homes from chaos to calm. Thank you for being with us today, Ann. And tell us, why did you become a professional organizer?
Hello, and thank you for having me today.
My pleasure.
I became a professional organizer because many years ago, in my 20s and 30s, I moved several times to take advantage of job opportunities. Preparing to move and settling in was truly overwhelming. And I thought, if I feel this way, it must be other people that feel that way. So I remember how awful and how hopeless that feeling was. So about my third move, I came to the conclusion that why am I hauling all these boxes around that I'm not unpacking and paying movers to haul them around? So I decided to do one box a day. I set a timer when I got home from work and went through one box. It took 6 weeks to do that, but I did it every single day, and the more space I cleared, the better I felt. So space is a wonderful thing, and I did not need those things. I was not using those things. So I was keeping what I used and what simplified my life.
That's excellent. I really like that. WOW Organizing is an unusual name. How did you come up with that name?
I have to thank my clients for that. In the very beginning, and still, the expression is at the final results, it's like, wow, what a difference. Wow, this looks great. Wow, I love it. So I looked up to see if it was available with the LLC and registered the name, and people love it, and I love it.
It's easy.
It is.
It's easy to remember.
It's a great positive expression.
We are talking with Ann Custer of WOW Organizing Solutions, or Services. Is it Services?
Yes.
WOW Organizing Services. So when should people call in a professional organizer?
When they can admit to themselves that they need help. It is okay to need help. Everybody has their strengths. This is mine. To help you, to help yourself, to guide you, to support you, to give you suggestions, to give you options, and to do the hands-on work. So, if you're feeling overwhelmed, then that's the first sign that, you know what, I need some extra hands. I need some help. And it's perfectly fine to be in that situation, because we all have too much stuff.
Yes. So are there warning signs that we may need help organizing?
I think it goes right back to, if you recognize that you're overwhelmed and you have a path in your floor, or your dresser is piled high with stuff. That's how can you see what you have? The purpose of being organized is to see what you have and to find it quickly and easily.
Well, people might be embarrassed about their clutter and their mess. How do you help them overcome their embarrassment?
The first thing I let them know is that there is absolutely no judgment. This is a solvable situation. There's no judgment, just improvement. And here again, this is a very personal type of service. We're coming into your home, going through your items that you have invited us to do that needed help with. So we sort, we categorize, we label, we donate, then we can organize what you're going to keep and use.
That sounds very practical. We are talking with professional organizer Ann Custer. And so what types of spaces do you help people organize?
Entire homes, 1 room, 2 rooms, entire homes, offices, warehouses, anything that, storage units, anything that is chaotic and is controlling you. We want you to control your space, your home. instead of it being chaotic for you.
That sounds wonderful. And so how does it work?
Well, they send me, I speak with them by phone, and my goal is to answer all of their questions to help put them at ease, and then I ask for them to send photos. The purpose of the photos is I can make plans from that, or ask them questions. You know, what about this area? What about this piece of furniture? What are you thinking about keeping? What are you thinking about donating? So it helps put them in a so that they can start processing this and understand how it's going to work. It's all about the client. They are in total control the entire time. I am there to help keep them focused, do the hands-on work, and get results for them.
That sounds really very helpful. Can you give us some tips that would help us organize in our daily lives, that would help keep us organized?
One thing that gets a lot of blame, the dryer or the washer always gets a lot of blame for the socks being missing. So one of those bags that you can get for like 97 cents is very inexpensive. It's a netted bag, and you put your socks in there. Each person, put your socks, give each person a bag, and put your socks in there. They wash well, they get clean, they dry, and they're matched. If you put matches in there, they're going to match up when you take them out and dry them, put them in your drawer.
And then everybody has their own bag too.
Everybody has
and
their
they should
own.
put their own clothes away.
Yes.
That's very helpful. So I have a question regarding what do you do with people that are extremely sentimental, but they're maybe downsizing and they can't take? Do you have any advice that you help them deal with that?
I always suggest, and I do provide boxes, so I always suggest a memory box or a treasure box, whatever their preference is. And if they do want to keep certain items, then absolutely. The other thing I suggest, for example, a grandmother has given an adult granddaughter a lot of trinkets and items, and naturally it's difficult for the granddaughter to let go because it has so many memories. So I suggest to her, why don't you pick 3 or 5 of these items that really have fantastic memories for you. Let's put it on your dresser or maybe a floating shelf, and that way we're honoring your grandmother. When you look up there, you can see all of the things, as opposed to keeping everything that she gave you. I would think that she would want someone to, maybe someone else in the family would enjoy them. So there's many solutions of helping to let go of the attachments. It is very difficult for sure.
Definitely. That sounds like great advice. So we only have a couple minutes left. How about, you and I were talking about, this is something that I think a lot of people deal with, is toys.
Yes.
Because, you think your children need all of these toys, and in my opinion, a lot of times they don't even play with all of them, or it's overwhelming to them. How do you help people deal with situations like that, where it's not for them per se, but it's a family member?
Or they have so many toys they don't have room to play with the toys.
That's right.
That is a situation. What I suggest with the parents is the possibility of rotating the toys. Obviously there are things that the children have already outgrown and maybe they don't play with anymore. So let's talk about the possibility of donating those. And then I suggest to rotate, like every 2 weeks or every week, the toys that they've played with, then put those up and bring out another set of toys. And they have room to play with it. And the feedback I get from the moms is the kids love it, the moms love it, and it's just a win-win situation for the entire household.
And thank you so much for joining us today. You've given us so much information, and we can use it to help simplify our own lives and think ahead to what we're going to be leaving with our children. So I appreciate it so much. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. We'll be back after this with some speed cleaning tips to help you take your home from drab to fab in a short amount of time.
You are cheap. No, I'm not.
You are cheap.
No, I'm not.
You are cheap.
No, I'm not.
You are cheap.
Well, maybe I am. If you're buying a diamond ring for your wife, it's not cool to be cheap. If you're buying airline tickets, it's very cool to be cheap and called Trip Amigo, where you can fly anywhere in the world and save up to 75% on over 500 airlines and 300,000 hotels. Plus, rental cars and vacation packages. Visit family, friends, or go on a once-in-a-lifetime vacation. Go ahead, be cheap. We have special fares we're not allowed to publish. When you book your airline reservations with Trip Amigo, you'll spend your travel money when you get there, not by getting there. Call Trip Amigo now and mention the travel code AMIGO and save even more. Call Trip Amigo now.
800-772-4165. 800-772-4165. 800-772-4165. That's 800-772-4165.
Where there is nothing, artists see something. Where there is silence, they hear a melody. Where there is beauty, they create even greater beauty. In a region known for its beautiful mountain surroundings, our vibrant arts community makes the Allegheny Highlands a more colorful place to live and visit. Our passion for the arts is endless, and it's uniquely Allegheny.
Today we have been talking about how to simplify our lives. We had some great cooking tips from Laurel Soderberg, including that prepping your meals a little bit on the weekend can save you time during the week. And we had some wonderful organizing tips from Ann Custer, including how to help your children stay organized. Next, I'm going to share a few tips that can make your house cleaning chores go by much faster. And that is with my speed cleaning tips, something I have been practicing for over 25 years. And before that, I was working full-time, and my cleaning was reserved for all day Saturday. I had a young girl. I felt like it was not fair to her to spend all of my time cleaning on my day off. So when I was walking through a bookstore one day and came across a little book called Speed Cleaning, I couldn't resist. I bought the book, I adopted the principles, and I have been practicing them for over 25 years. So I'd love to share some tips with you today. This is about weekly cleaning. It's not about decluttering your house or daily cleaning, such as making beds and doing dishes. This is just about doing a thorough cleaning once a week in your kitchen, your bathrooms, and then dusting and vacuuming the house. So what I like to do is share some rules that I have found work wonderfully well. And one of them is just that we make every move count. So what that means is we work around the room once in a clockwise position, and we don't backtrack. So we carry all of our tools. I wear a little cleaning apron. It's got everything I need right with me. And you start and you work from top to bottom, right to left, and you go once around the room and you're done. And then you just go back to do the floors. So I am actually going to do an entire video that'll take about 1 hour in June. If you would like to see me demonstrate this entire technique, it is free, and I will have all of the information. You can contact me, or my contact information will be in our show notes at sisterhoodofthesecond-act.com. But another tip I want to share that's very easy is if you have a dishwasher and an item fits and it's safe, put it in the dishwasher. You can put the filters from your stovetop in there. You can put all of your glass globes from your kitchen and your bathroom in there. You can put artificial plants in there. In other words, why wash it by hand if it fits in the dishwasher? Go ahead and you can get all of that cleaned while you are doing your other cleaning. So that's a tip that I wanted to share. Another is to use both hands at once. Spray with one hand and wipe with the other hand. You've got two hands, you'll double the work if you do it quickly. If you have a helper, that's also called team cleaning, and you can get things done much quicker. And one thing is 2 people can make the bed 4 times as fast as 1 person. So if you'd like to learn more ways that you can get your house cleaning done in half the time, then go ahead and give me a little quick message, and I'd be glad to share these tips in a free video and demonstrate all the techniques. I think you'll enjoy it, and I think you'll learn how to get your home chores done in half the time. Thank you so much for joining us. Join us again next week for another edition of Sisterhood of the Second Act.